This is nature's original NA beverage. Kava is a stress-relieving nootropic drink that's prepared from the roots of a plant that grows exclusively in South Pacific island countries in a place we call Polynesia. So it's been used in those cultures as kind of the foundational fabric of the social structures in those islands going back over like 3,000 years. It's used there for weddings, funerals, spiritual ceremonies, social gatherings, basically any context where people come together and to try to reach an elevated emotional state to where they can more effectively connect with themselves, de-stress at the end of the day, or just have, a connected situation collectively with other people. Basically any scenario that you would go get a coffee or a beer with someone, in Polynesia, that would be Kava. The experience of Kava is very different than alcohol. It's kind of like alcohol without the drunkenness. It kind of brings about a state of euphoric relaxation, almost like a natural high that you get after like a run or something, where it's like a really natural euphoria. We call it hyper sobriety. Kava has not made its way to the United States in all of that time, and there's a couple really unique reasons for that. Number one, the taste in its traditional form is not good at all. Like it's kind of like a peppery mud. So it's a plant in the pepper family that they grind down the roots and they actually squeeze them in a strainer bag for like 30 to 45 minutes into this big bowl, in which you end up as this kind of peppery bowl of muddy water, which is actually like kind of nasty. But if you live in that part of the world, or if you're an herb connoisseur, then people love it, right? But that's not very popular over here in the United States, right? It's just because people be off-put by a taste, right? Or a negative taste. So what we've done is we've commercialized that traditional preparation that keeps all of its most active ingredients or constituents fully intact, and to kind of get that entourage of activity that actually transfers that life force from the plant into the human body and gives you those amazing effects. In presentation, actually kind of similar to beer. It's this beautiful golden liquid in here that comes in these cans right here. So we've taken what's best about the social structure in Polynesian culture and put it into an end user product that almost anyone can tolerate and enjoy. Kava is that traditional preparation that I described. It's the water and pressure extraction from the roots of Piper methysticum. And that's really a necessary process to go through for the effects to actually transfer into the final product. So what we have here in the United States is either a large percentage of the population that's totally unaware that this stuff even exists, or that has tried it, but has tried it in a Kava extract form that you find it. It's called Kava, so it's like the name twice in a row. Basically, companies in the United States don't understand a lot of the millennia of tradition and the value in producing it traditionally. So they try to apply industry standard cookie cutter extraction methods to capture the effects in a high volume and to get high yields out of their Kava plant material that they import into the United States. Whenever you apply those cookie cutter extraction methods, it actually dilutes down about 90% of the effects, to where what you're left with in the end product in these Kava extracts, these kind of fake Kava products, is basically products that just look and taste and feel a little bit like drinking a chamomile tea. It's not nothing, it's slightly sedative, but basically all of the social lubricant effects that you get out of traditional Kava, all of the sort of mind-enhancing, euphoric effects, the heart-opening effects, like the increase in the ability to express yourself emotionally and connect authentically with others, the stuff that's really like the special sauce of what makes Kava so magical and so like historically relevant in Polynesia, most of that is completely processed out in these extracts. But anyways, there's an underlying yearn towards more natural medicines and natural ways of experiencing life, and this is also extremely relevant in our social and recreational settings, right, where we're seeing alcohol sales just plummet year over year because people are just becoming more culturally just honest about the long-term health impacts of actually what alcohol actually is, right? But, most of the things that people reach for or take or use are either just like non-alcoholic beers that just have the alcohol extracted out of them essentially, or social tonics that have a list of ingredients that are kind of contrived to try to produce an effect, but most of the time it's kind of like that chamomile tea thing. Very light, it's not like it's nothing, but it doesn't provide you what alcohol does. So that's the main differentiator of what Kava is. True Kava is the first truly functional alcohol alternative that actually delivers on all of the good things that you want from alcohol with none of the BS that comes along with regular alcohol use. Kava elicits a euphoric state of focused relaxation. So what does that mean? Like, we hear the term flow state a lot, and words like this can be overhyped and be used with like products all over the place. But Kava like truly delivers on what people are talking about whenever they're trying to describe a flow state. It's a state where you're not sedated, right? So there's anxiety relief, there's stress relief in it, but you're not sedated. There's mental focus and there's mental energy, but you're not wired up. There's no addiction, dependency, withdrawal process, and so there's no crash, because unlike alcohol and synthetic substances like pharmaceuticals that sort of borrow from tomorrow's feel-good chemistry to pay for today's, so it kind of leaves you with the situation of, addiction, dependency, withdrawal. It's basically like a credit card to the brain and to the nervous system. Kava actually helps to turn on the natural production of your feel-good chemistry, and it helps to nourish you in a way of actually like infusing capital into the system instead of borrowing it on credit. So we always describe it like that because it really helps to frame like how much of a mature strategy, right? Something like Kava is in certain parts of the world, and why it's something that's yielded long-term amazing results for people. In Polynesia, it's been referred to for thousands of years as a heart opener. The active ingredients in Kava are lipid-like oils in the Kava. They're aromatic oils that are called Kava lactones. And these Kava lactones interact with key receptors in the brain, like the GABA system, that's like the main brakes of the nervous system. Basically, anything that you take or use or do that affects GABA production or GABA release in the body relaxes you. It keeps you comfortable in your own skin, but Kava doesn't do that. It affects the GABA receptors in a very, very modulating, natural way that helps to sort of balance them out to where it lowers your cortisol and stress hormones, so that you can easily kind of make it into that flow state where you can just connect with people authentically and just feel a lot more like yourself. So Kava affects dopamine in the brain, it affects GABA, it affects serotonin. It allows you to stay focused while being relaxed but not sedated, and kind of get into that flow where you're kind of in a state of like maximum productivity, but also just like a really relaxed, like centered and calm state of mind where, again, things just flow really easily. That's why it's used in Polynesia for almost every like context you can imagine. Unlike alcohol, you can drink it any time of the day without being impaired. It doesn't even put you in an altered state. It really is more just an optimizer of your natural state. That's why it can be taken as a health supplement, but it also can be used as a recreational substance, right? It really just amplifies what you already naturally have inside of you, which is why it's called the great connector in some parts of the world, right? Because it kind of helps to facilitate just really natural connection and conversation in people, right? Kava really has the greatest, what I call therapeutic effect to drawback ratio of like any natural compound that I've worked with, either clinically or just like from a lifestyle standpoint. That means that it delivers something that's immediate that you actually feel, but with like virtually no downsides, right? It's such a versatile medicine. And for that reason, that's why Kava has historically stood the test of time in these cultures and just been so broad in its ability to be used in all these different contexts and to fit in so many different aspects of people's lives. And that's why we're popularizing it here in modern culture in the United States, because we live in a time where that's so needed because of the epidemics of addiction, dependency, people becoming more aware of being dehabituated to toxic synthetic substances, right? And looking for natural, safe alternatives.